Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Code Ordinance Enforcement Board for August the 11th, 2026. At this time, would our clerk please call the roll?
Rodney Davis.
Here.
James Bruce. Kelvin Grubbs.
Here.
Crystal Kirkman. Here. David Howell.
Here.
Callan Brooks.
Here.
Connie McGahee. Here. Mark Graham.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. At this time, would everyone please stand with me as we say the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Next on our agenda is approval of the minutes. Board members received a copy of the minutes in the mail. And at this time, we'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Any reports from fire department staff? Okay, none. Okay. All right, so next on our agenda is public hearings. We have a couple of hearings on our agenda tonight. One is a recall hearing, the other is a new hearing. But before we get started, I want to review the procedures we're going to follow tonight. So if you bear with me as I go through these procedures, then we'll get started, okay? All right, once again, good evening, everyone. My name is Rodney Davis. I am the chairman of the City of Hopkinsville Code Ordinance Enforcement Board. The purpose of this board is to protect, promote, and improve the health, safety, and welfare of citizens residing in the city of Hopkinsville. If a board member perceives a potential conflict with hearing a case, he or she shall recuse themselves from the case and will not discuss their disposition. When your name is called, please come forward, speak loudly and clearly because we are required to record all proceedings from these hearings. You are here tonight because you received the citation and chose to appear before the board instead of paying the imposed fine on the citation. You have the right to confront and cross-examine any witnesses that might appear here against you. You have the right to call your own witness to testify on your behalf and to introduce any physical evidence you feel pertinent to this case. You have the right to have an attorney. If you wish to hire one to represent you, let me know and I will request the board postpone your case to enable you to do so. I have the right as chairman of the board to limit the amount of testimony which is presented. That shall be done when I determine that certain testimony is irrelevant or is repetitive. This is not the same as a court of law, and legal rules of evidence do not have to be followed. This is similar to an administrative hearing, and the requirements for the introduction of evidence are not as stringent as in the court of law, but they are nonetheless just as important to ensure a just decision. You shall be afforded all rights which are of fundamental importance to comply with due process standards of fairness and justice. The burden of establishing a violation occurs rests with the city. If the city cannot prove a violation took place, no fine or remedial measures may be imposed. After all the evidence and testimony have been introduced and the hearing has been closed, the board will make a decision. The board will decide whether or not a violation of a local ordinance has been committed. If the board determines no violation was committed, then this board will enter an order dismissing the citation. If the board determines that a violation did take place, the board will enter an order upholding the citation and will order you to pay a fine in an amount up to the maximum authorized by ordinance and may order you to remedy the violation within a specified period of time. In cases involving unsafe structures, the board, as part of its decision and written order, may additionally make a provision for the offender to cure the violation within the court will be limited to a review of the record created before this board. If there are any questions at this time, please feel free to ask. Okay, no questions? Okay, so we're going to recall first the case that we began our last meeting that was tabled. Code officer is Mr. DeArmond, and Mendabee is the organization that's been cited. Mr. DeArmond, if you can come forward. I believe you have some slides. You want to update us?
Yes.
On some things? Okay. Before we get started, we're going to swear everyone in once again, since we're on a new day. So if you would, please raise your right hand. All of you going to be speaking. Okay. All right. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do.
I do.
Okay. And I guess one at a time, I can have you, well, when you come up to speak, I'll have you identify yourself. But Mr. Armand, why don't you start by giving us your name, employer, and position for the record?
Mark DeArmond, Code Enforcement Officer with the Hopkinsville Fire Department.
Okay, Mr. DeArmond, tell us where we are on this case and what you want us to know.
As it was introduced, this is a continuation of the case brought before you on June 23rd regarding the property at 712 East First, the attic school structure. This is going to be a summary, not representing the entire case prior to tonight. What you see here is where you can hear the case in its entirety on YouTube. Look under the City of Hopkinsville Code of Ordinance, and you can find the meeting and listen to the previous case in its detail. When you're looking on First Street, looking at attic school, start from the right to the left. There's a new construction, call it new construction, built in 1957. Totally different construction scheme than the original school building in 1912. The 1957 section was inspected, had violations, but did not meet the criteria for an unsafe structure. Generally speaking, if you look at the red comments, under the word comments and the overall conditions, generally it says that the gymnasium and the bleachers are a risk to the public inside. They should be removed. And there's a foundation settlement in the stairwell in the brick veneer on the right front corner that when you go inside, the same brick separation in the concrete block mimics the one outside. So we're requesting that review of the foundation. And those two makes this building a few violations like broken windows, et cetera, but not unsafe and can be used. Attic school, the original, constructed in 1912, has most, if not all, the center portion of its roof gone, as we've seen in the previous slides, and it's been gone perhaps until roughly 2022 or so. The component that makes this portion of attic school unsafe is with the roof gone, the ceiling's gone. With the water and the weather going in for all those number of years, the floor is hazardous to walk on. A safety hazard, as 3 of us walked it and found out almost the hard way. There's some other damage to the walls and other portions of the building, but it scored 12 out of 18 or 67% as an unsafe structure. Again, the comments, you can see the specifics under the term comments. What we deemed and called the West Wing school building that runs parallel with Vine Street. It's attached to of a storm that came through and existing damage that made this portion of the West Wing termed an imminent danger. That's the code enforcement's term. We don't have that term. The third-party engineering structural folks came in and they did the inspection, and then again, comments are there to be seen, and it beats 15 out of 18 or 83% unsafe. There's been activity at this attic school, and dating back to 2024. We're not going to review that timeline because code enforcement got word of the existing damage to the west wing, the roof collapse, on May the 12th. An inspection took place that same day and did find that the roof had collapsed and the walls were at bowed. And so we contacted Gardner Engineering, the third-party structural engineering folks, and they came, joined us, Hopkinsville Fire Department and code enforcement, on May 13th to conduct another inspection. Following that inspection and a discussion, a notice of violation for an unsafe structure was issued. At the same time, Gardner's report was received, giving us his findings of the damages at that structure. Because the risk was great, the risk to the exposure of the neighborhood because of the conditions of the walls, we felt it pertinent to install a fence around the west wing portion to protect the public, particularly the children in the area, from that portion of the building. On May 26th, Mr. Sutton and a representative for Ms. Lewis came to the fire station and met with Chief Futrell, Deputy Chief Civils, and I to talk about this structure, what can we do, and they explained their plans with hopes to restore the building. We gave them a copy of the latest report, the report that we received on the 19th, talking about the damage and the risk and the exposures of this building and what they would have to do. And a detailed discussion was held about knowing that on June the 1st, a citation for an unsafe structure will follow per the code of ordinance, and in this case would automatically go before the board on June 23rd. The process to speed up their time and answer their questions of what we could do was, it would require a written work plan, it would require engineering drawings and the scope of work and a process by which they could restore this building safely. And at the time those plans and meetings are completed, obtain the building permits, and they will be ahead of the game before it comes to the board. Again, the citation was issued on the 1st, board hearing on the 23rd. As you all will recall, an extension was given till tonight in order for the folks that meant to meet with codes and CDS and review the work write-up, the plans and the specifications to rebuild the building, obtain the building permits, and a detailed description of how critical the 45 and 90 days in this process is. 45 days to get all the drawings and the meetings and the approvals and the building permits available so they can begin to work. As of this hearing, we've had no such meeting. I was stopped in town on July 28th by Mr. Carlos Fuentes, giving me a review of his work at Attic School, saying he was there sole purpose to remove the debris, the construction debris inside the structure. He asked for an inspection, and I could not offer him an inspection because we don't have any plans yet or directions which way it was going from end to be. And so he was concerned about some of the walls, and he took it on himself to install the wall supports and brackets that you'll see in some photographs here shortly. He called me the following day to say he's completed his work at the Attic property. He's got the debris out, and absent any drawings or any plans, there's nothing he could do to go forward. So he was finished with the project. Gardner Engineering was invited to come back and do another follow-up structural inspection on August the 5th. His report, you all has received, and he is here now to present his portion of the report and give you some discussions and answer any questions you have. And we're here at the board meeting tonight.
Okay, so that report, I believe our clerk is handing out to us right now. So but we'll have it when he's ready to speak.
So as of today, the debris has been removed from the west wing As you see the chute that's going into the dumpster, some is coming out of the front portion of the original attic school. The aerial shot on the right was taken today that shows the braces still in place, the damage to the walls, and the chute that's in place. While we were conducting this inspection at the school on the 5th, we noticed this group of windows that had this plywood removed and it's ground level. We also noticed that the fence along the left side by the dumpster had been pushed out. And we noticed that the plywood covering the front door had been removed. Fire department got a word just prior to the 5th that there were 2 children that lived across the street. One came out from underneath that door, the plywood of the door, been inside the building. The other one came out from beside the fence and were playing on the wall braces. Those areas were quickly repaired. This is a time, folks, that this project is a huge attractive nuisance to the community. And it behooves all of us, to guard the risk, guard the hazards from the children in this area. That's not necessarily a code issue, but it can be, but it's truly an important point that I trust everybody hears. The structural portion of this discussion will be held, presented by Kelly Gardner of Gardner Engineering.
Mr. Jarman, can I ask you one question?
Oh, sir.
Who installed the fence?
It was done on behalf of the city. It was a third-party rental contractor.
It was done on behalf of the city. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, sir, you've been sworn in, but can you begin by telling us your full name, employer, and title for the record?
Yes, sir. Kelly Gardner, owner and principal engineer of Gardner Engineering in Owensboro.
Tony Gardner.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Gardner, you want to tell us about this inspection report we have in front of us, or?
Okay. I've actually been involved for about a year now and have performed 3 separate inspections. I'm trying to bring those up right now, but the most recent one was the one you have a copy of now. I have trouble here. It's not opening. Bear with us. Try to open that folder. Go back to the middle. On the left. While we're doing that, my first involvement actually was in summer of last year, almost a year to today, when we made the first inspection. Thank you. And that was a report that was actually issued in January of this year. That was my first report. That was the most lengthy report. I'm sure you all have copies. But that's where we gave the findings, what he's already discussed, that the original portion was deemed imminent danger and unsafe. And the portions of the newer building, primarily the bleachers, were the big concern in the newer portion. At that time, a part of the roof of the original school building was off and exposed to the elements. Let's see if this is that report. That's the most recent one. Or excuse me, this is the second report. So first report showed a portion of the roof gone off the original building. This report on the screen now, from back in May, we got the call back, and that was after the storm and the roof over the annex or the west wing had collapsed into the second floor. Between those 2 visits, we noticed quite a bit of change in the structure itself, not just the roof, but the walls. They had visible bowing and displacement at the time of this inspection in May of this year. I don't really know that I want to go through everything, but I'll give you a few photos just so you can see. With the help of the fire department, I was able to get some good.
I'm sorry, sir. Can you speak up just a little louder?
Sure.
Because I'm missing some of what you're saying. I don't know if anybody else is.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll try to.
Okay,
So with this report, it was a second visit at the request of the fire department. And it was because of this is the west wing, looking at the roof sitting on the second floor. And this is when I issued a imminent danger notice for this portion of the building. Reason being, the roof structure is gone. Therefore, the walls are no longer braced. And the wrong kind of wind or shaking could bring the walls down and either inward or outward. Just some quick skin through the views here. That was in May, and thought that would be the end of it. You know, the notice has been made, and we're waiting for, I guess you could say, a plan of attack as to what the next steps would be by the owner. So, Mark. And you have a copy of the third report there with you. That was taken last week, and noticeable change. The biggest concern, braces were added to the walls, but they're not engineered. They're not really capable of safely supporting the walls by the method that they were used. It actually creates, in my opinion, a even more unsafe situation because you've got stiff braces and a lot of unbraced elements in the brick, and again, the wrong kind of wind or lateral movement could make it even worse, a greater risk for the walls to come down. Here's some more photos showing exterior bracing on the east wall and then on the west wall in the upper right corner. Then the bottom two photos are actually some strap bracing that were added inside through the floors, wrapping around electrical conduit. Not exactly a structurally sound. In fact, that conduit stops in midair. Here's another photo. This is looking at the braces at the west wall, which is probably the most concerning at this point because it shows the most movement, most displacement. The top of the wall is leaning outward a lot more than even back in May. And I've got some comparison contrast photos to show in just a moment. These are two aerial photos from Google Earth. The top one was from June 2022, where you can see everything has a roof on it. And then the next available Google Earth photo is from January 25. Kind of hard to see, but the roof over the central or the main portion of the old building, it had already gone. And there's a little bit of roof here. There's an opening, but it's somewhat intact. And that was in January 25. And then, of course, you've seen the other photos I showed of the most recent, the May event, where even this back roof is gone. So the entire 1912 building has essentially no roof structure, no roof, no bracing of the upper walls, and it's exposed to the elements. So the last thing I'm going to show you is a few. I want to compare and contrast a few photos, just kind of show the progression of the changes. Thank you. If they will open up, we'll see. So this is a photo from my May visit. Obviously, no bracing. The top wall is bowing out. That was the first time we saw some movement. But if you look in the report that you have in your hand where the braces are, that's the bowing of the wall is even more extreme, even though the braces are there. Sorry, I use a Mac, so I'm not used to working this computer. And here's a zoomed in view. And again, this was from May of this year. And I want to try to get to where I can compare it to. Well, you can compare that to the most recent ones in the report. I want to jump down here real quick. There we go. And that gives you a better idea of the current status of it. So that's really quick run through of what I've been doing on this for the last year.
Okay, so are you telling us though that the bowing in the wall is worsened and these supports are not helping?
These supports, if the wall really wanted to come down, they would still come down despite the supports. They are undersized, unbraced. One of them is not even anchored at the ground. It's kind of in a hole, but not anchored to any kind of base. And the bigger problem is at the top of the wall where the brace touches the wall, it's creating a point load. And this unreinforced brick can't take the point load. That's what the roof structure did with the top plate. It would distribute the loads across the wall. That distribution ability is gone. And point load bracing can make it much worse.
If you were to build supports for this wall, how would you go about it?
Let me start out with saying if you've got enough time, enough money, you can do anything.
Sure.
And I'm not trying to be crass. I'm just, the logistic or reality is I don't see the cost effectiveness in trying to re-support this. This old brick, you would have to, there's not enough structural integrity in the walls at this point to just brace them. I've worked on other older structures in various parts of Kentucky, and when they're at this state, you either tear it down or you build a structure within a structure and then just treat this as a veneer, but you still have to anchor it back. These walls in their condition couldn't take roof load as is.
Okay, any other questions from board members for Mr. Gardner?
Mr. Gardner, I want to make sure I understood what you just said. It sounded like you said that, so could the walls as they are, could they be shored up and reconstruct a new roof on top? Or do you think-
In my opinion, no. I think they're too far gone. What I didn't show in the original report, there's quite a bit of foundation settlement, and actually a base of the wall is gone in the southwest corner of the west wing. There's literally a hole through the wall. You can, the first report has some good photos of that. I'm sorry, I don't have that with me. The mortar's gone. There's no bond left. It's just essentially just dry stack brick at this point.
Based on your expertise, how safe do you think this building is for anybody to even get in and do work in?
It's not safe. I was actually shocked to see or learn that they had put something up and gone in and removed the debris. Because in my report in May, I made a point that that's the problem. It's not safe to do any work on it. If they had dropped something, hit it with a piece of equipment, any kind of wrong shaking and wrong movement could have caused a bad situation, partial or complete collapse. Because it's been exposed to the weather for so long, the flooring, the second floor joist, there's quite a bit of rot in those now, both in the west wing and the main building. And there's just nothing to work with. It's very unsafe.
Any other questions for Mr. Gardner? Okay, thank you, sir. We may have other questions later, though, if they come up. You,
Yes, sir.
Fire Chief on the.
Stephen Futrell, Fire Chief and Director of Code Enforcement.
Yeah, let me swear you in too.
I swore in.
You need, oh,
I
that's
did.
right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's right. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
I'm here basically just to answer questions if you have any. What I will say is tonight is the first night I've spoken with Mr. Gardner since this report. And while we appreciate what men to be are doing, we absolutely do. Sometimes we have to make hard decisions based off life safety issues. This has become a life safety issue. I feel like It has gotten to a point to where it could not be repaired. The subject matter expert has testified to that tonight. So I hope that you take that in mind when you make a decision on this building, because we are responsible for life safety first. So if there's any questions for me, and absolutely we want men to be to speak and have their part, have their part of this. But please keep in mind that we have had lots of opportunity to address this building. Men to be has not reached out to us with the exception of asking us to remove the fence since the last meeting. So we don't really know what their goal is or what their plan is. But we're to a point to where we have to act, whether it's upsetting or not, because it has become a life safety issue that I think that we cannot overlook.
Okay, now, so your opinion as far as the life safety issue, we're only talking about the old section
Yes, sir.
of the building,
Yes,
not
sir.
the new section.
No, sir.
I know Mr. DeArmond mentioned some other concerns that were addressed as far as the fence being removed and plywood gone and whatever. What's your opinion on that? And can something be done to secure the building in a better fashion to
If there
override
is, I
that?
don't know what it would be. I called to have the fence put up immediately once we found out that it was in this shape. It's been up for a while. I will say that when we found out that the plywood was removed, we reached out to Men to Be. They fixed it immediately with no issue. But we're going to continue to have that. We're going to continue to have people climb the fence. We're going to continue to have people pull down the plywood. But for how long? If a storm hits those walls, the reason why I had the structural engineer come in is to show the difference in today versus the last time we were here having this meeting, which was 2 months, 45 days. It has continuously gotten worse, even with the work that was done. It continues to get worse. So if we give it 2 more days, it may go 2 months. It may fall tonight if the wind hits it right. We don't know. But I feel like because of the testimony of the subject matter expert, we have a duty to act to put life safety first. And I don't think anybody would argue that. I don't think there's a way to keep people out of there. I just don't. Men to Be have been amazing with the plywood, but they have to continuously put it back up because it continuously gets taken down. The fence is the best that we could do, that we could think of it's posted, it's fenced. They take the post down, they move the fence, they take the plywood down. We can't stop that. We've doubled police presence in that area. The first Chief Newby met us out there that day we put the fence and said, absolutely, we will increase police presence to try to keep people from getting in there. We cannot. There was people that were sleeping underneath it that day. They had removed plywood from windows and they were getting in the basement and sleeping down there. So those are the concerns that I have.
Is there some authority that the fire department has that can go ahead and make a decision?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
After the testimony tonight, I would like this board to make the decision as you are the governing board, but KRS gives me the authority to make the decision without asking anyone if it's a life safety issue, and I feel like it is.
Chief, if say you get an emergency call out to this facility, this building, what is the protocol for our firefighters, paramedics?
Right. If there's a person in there that's viable, we're going in. And we know that we may not come out, but that's everything we go to. If there's nobody in there that we can get, we're surrounding it and watching it, and trying to keep people from getting in there. But if there's a homeless person in there, if we think there's a homeless person in there, then we're going in there. We have no choice. That's what we do. Especially with the phone call we got last week from an upset mother that she caught her children playing in there, and she was mad at us, and I understand that, and I don't blame her. I'd be upset too. But kids are going to be kids, and in that area, there's a lot of children, so, and they don't care what the fence says, to be honest.
It's the biggest threat with this wall leaning and the bowing.
The 3 walls that are leaning, the floor is gone.
All 3 walls?
Yes, sir. People are getting underneath that floor in that basement and that floor is already coming down. Yes,
Is there a basement under this section?
yes, sir.
But basically, if this threat was removed, say that section of the building was torn down, it can be rebuilt.
Yes, sir. And the newer section of the building can be renovated.
Right.
Just to take that and clarify, Chief, we're talking about the unsafe, the 1916 portion, the T-shaped west
Yes.
wing, as we're calling it. That's really all, that's the scope of this unsafe structure portion,
Yes,
right?
that is the imminent danger unsafe structure. The 1950s part, the new part, all the way to the gymnasium is not, in our opinion, imminent danger. And not what we,
Chief, for clarification, property maintenance code issues with the new part that,
yes,
so it's basic property maintenance code on the new part with the 1950 section, but
Yeah.
unsafe on the 1912
Right.
or 16 section.
yes. There are still code violations, even in the new part, that they are aware of, that they has been brought to the board, that have not been remedied, that need to be remedied, but it's not unsafe structured for imminent danger.
So in the newer part, there's still things that they've not
Yes.
even started to address yet?
Yes,
The bleachers are still in there?
yes.
So are we voting on the 19?
No, we're not voting on anything yet, because the hearing has not been closed, and we've not had a chance to hear from men to be. So this is
Right.
just all discussions. We got any
I mean,
questions?
but are we just discussing the old section right now?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
We're not concerned with the violation, code violations on the other end right now.
Well, we're concerned
No.
with it, but the meeting tonight is to discuss
Right.
the unsafe, the imminent danger of the
Okay.
unsafe structure.
Yeah, we're
portion.
discussing the whole thing right now.
The whole.
We're
facility
focusing on that
Right.
part.
Okay, all right.
Okay, any other questions? The fire chief? Okay, thank you, sir. We might call you back up. Okay, Mr. Sutton, I see you're here. You gonna be speaking on behalf of men to be once again? Okay, are you ready to come forward? And if anyone else that you have called to speak, will you be speaking? Yes. Okay, let me swear you both in right now, if you don't mind. If you raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do.
I do.
Okay, all right. You guys can have a seat. Ms. Sutton, you want to kick things off? And first, tell us once again your name and your, I guess you represent the men to be, as we identified last meeting, and your title.
Yes, sir. My name is Damon Sutton, and I am the consultant as well as developer advisor for Men to Be.
Okay. All right, Mr. Sutton, you've heard the testimony of the code officer and the engineer and the fire chief and whatnot. Can you update us on what Men to Be has done regarding this property and just anything else you want us to know regarding this, this case before us?
Okay. We have right now, there are some printed out documents in regards to
Yeah.
the debris removal.
Thank you.
And since the last time that we were in here, we had actually spoke with the Army on the way out, and he told us, hey, you know, you need to get started, what needs to happen. And looking back over the recordings, as far as us going ahead and taking action. We did go ahead and assemble our team to go out and begin work. First, what we did is we made sure that we toured the site to make sure that it was going to be properly removed. So we did evaluate everything within that area where the roof caved in to make sure that the remaining portion of the roof was going to be brought off without bringing any additional damage or any, safety to the public. So within that time period, we did get the team assembled and go out and did do the debris removal. So it took about a little bit over 2 weeks to get it done. And at that point, we did go ahead and start evaluating the remaining part of the site and work on what we know, stabilizing the wall from what Fire Chief had actually showed and Mr. Gardner. Those were the steps that we actually went about taking and then getting an architect involved for the wall so we could actually know were they actually going to be able to be saved as far as the work moving forward. We've been working with Keith Sharp, and he's been out to the site to evaluate it and been back in touch with us to let us know that he is still working on a plan of action to evaluate things and get back with us on the proper way for things to be handled. He actually did say that it is able to be done. So that was something that we were actually amazed and really confident about to hear him speak those words out of his mouth. So we do have correspondence here from him as well.
You have this on the back page of those sheets you had.
Yeah, that's,
You have
Okay. Yeah, that's the printouts of the conversation that we've been having with Keith Sharp.
so they're working on the report right now.
And so this report that you're looking for from Mr. Sharp, this report is going to speak to whether or not this section of the building can be restored, can be renovated? Or what is this report gonna
Yeah,
tell you?
I'd say that as well. Well, Mr. Darrell's had further length in conversation with him in regards to that. So he
Okay.
probably can fill you in a lot better than that. than I
Okay,
can on that.
okay. Mr. Lynch, first off, yeah, give us your
Good evening.
full name.
My name is
and
Darrell
position.
Lynch, live at 301 Brown Street, Hopkinsville, Kentucky. And before I get into what they've been asking from Mr. Sharp, Keith Sharp, is what was my understanding that was required in the last 30 days. So Mr. Gardner is our expert. He can work with them. He knows how it is. He's been working since last August, done a great job. He worked last August to last January just to get that first report out. It's a big deal. So around the 30 days, it's going to be hard to get somebody to give you a real in-depth. The idea is to, at this point, to do determination of whether or not it's what's feasible, what's not feasible. We need to take those walls down and start from scratch. As Mr. Gardner said, you can accomplish anything with enough money. But until he gets that report back in, the men to be can't make an intelligent decision on where their funds are. They know what funds they have before May to work with and trying to accomplish this, what was their phase B, but they don't have, and now it's all changed. So to make the professional, it may come back where everybody agrees on what was here before. But I think what they're trying to do is give him time to give them the information they need to make a decision and for you to make a decision. Because that would have to come, because I think, is it correct that, the plans were requested and design and specifications were requested?
Well, yeah, we hadn't, that's what's gonna be
Yeah.
required,
Yes, I mean.
You know,
the plans
our-
were required.
if our final decision, but this case has been, it's a recalled case.
Yes,
So
sir.
we've not made the final decisions on what all the requirements were. Basically, we're giving heads up on
Yes.
the fact that if this board decides to allow men to be time to proceed with the renovation,
Okay.
then a work report, engineer write-ups, permits, all that stuff will have to be done. So we're really ahead of the game on that. But here's my question, and Mr. Lynch, I don't know if you can answer it, or Mr. Sutton. So we're here now, and this is a recalled meeting, and so I know you don't have the report from Mr. Sharp yet, but what is the desire of men to be? Is it to renovate this building? And if you learn that it's not feasible, are you okay with the demolition and moving in a different direction? You know, use the funds maybe to rebuild on this site.
Okay, that was.
What is?
Have to respond to that. I can tell you what their goals are for the building at this point, but, you almost have to wait. In my opinion, you almost have to wait till we get more information before they can make that determination. You're sort of guessing and saying what if at this point.
Well, yeah, I know there's a lot of hypotheticals, but I'm just curious what the desire of the organization is, because, you know, we're here for the second meeting, and we've heard from the fire department and the engineer that this is a imminent safety thing.
And I totally agree with that.
And, you know, we're taking a lot of risk. If this board decides, well, okay, we'll give y'all so many more days to get this report in and then give an answer back to us, you know, that may be okay, but I don't think the city feels okay with that.
About the safety, they're absolutely correct. I cannot look in there without knowing myself. I'm a big safety guy. Where we're at right now, we have to keep it fenced in, we have to keep it boarded up, and have to keep it protected. But realistically, it would have taken long, 30 days to get what was requested last month. And I think personally that they had to come and do about as much as they could do, and we're making the effort. So it just has to be a community decision whether or not you want to give them that opportunity to decide whether or not, find out whether or not it is feasible or not feasible, do they have the funding or not have the funding. That's up to you all. I can't argue with anything that was discussed by the chief or the engineer. But at the same time, I did notice that the engineer said it was 5-6 months just for him in his assessment. So it just didn't happen quick to get that put together. In my history of working with architects and engineers. So you gotta be realistic there. And also, you know, we have to have a plan of action, specifications and scope of work, to accomplish what they had told me they want to accomplish. They want to accomplish keeping the total historical credibility of it. Even if you can't tear it down and build it back up just like it was, in order to qualify for certain grants. And that can be reiterated off of their representative, more than myself. I think the difference is if they don't put it back just like it was, even if they have to tear down that section and build it back up, then they would lose quite a bit of funding. Is that correct? Okay, all right. So there we are. Okay. Any other questions?
Mr. Lynch,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I would, with respect and a lot of respect to the organization, what I know about Men to Be, it's a very upstanding mission and organization, and I respect it very much. We're talking about a building that is really struggling right this minute, and the timeline is not our friend. Okay, and where we stand today, the email traffic that you sent reflects a visit with Mr. Sharp yesterday morning.
Yes.
And that concerns me because it's been a pretty acute problem since at least January 15th. And then another report in May. I don't know if Mentavie was privy to these reports, that I don't know, but I do know that the condition existed.
Yes, the January report.
And it concerns me that it was before the board in June, and the board at that time advised that additional information was needed, and it was yesterday.
Well, the
when
contact
we
was
met
made
with
before then, but yesterday was the first opportunity for Mr. Sharp to be here.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that, and I understand that he's got a busy schedule, and I understand how the process would probably play out, and that it would take more time for him to generate a meaningful report. It would take time for Mentavie to synthesize that report as far as their business goes and what their tolerance would be for budget and what the undertaking would look like if it could be salvaged, which we have a structural engineer here today who has studied it on at least 3 times who's saying that it can't be. I'm concerned about, I have a lot of concern about the condition of it and the inactivity to this point. That it was 45 days ago that the advice was given from this board, and that it was yesterday that the first step of acting on that advice was taken. That concerns me a lot.
I understand, but cleanup had to be done before we could really get anybody in there and make sure there was even adequate to go in. The communication with architect was made before yesterday, and 30 days, I'll be honest with you, it took me 2 weeks to get on board with them when they addressed it to me because of my schedule, honestly.
When was your first contact with Mr. Sharp?
On the 6th
Of
And
August?
of August. And I'd reached out to about 4 different engineers and architects, and nobody could respond in any kind of fashion, all the way to Utah. So it's just, it's not just my phone call and they drop something, say, yeah, I'll come look at that. So I'm realistic.
Okay, so you don't have any particular timeline on when you may hear back from Mr. Sharp?
He's making an effort to try to have us something by the end of this week, but I would say, but as what he came out of his mouth yesterday, he said he'll try to have something that we can pass on to the chief this week. But he said it's hard pressed. I'll be honest, it's hard pressed from the way he's expressed. And that may not be a good report. Like I said, whatever comes out, comes out. But that's what you asked for. It may be something
Yeah,
the men to be don't like. Maybe exactly matching face to face with what Mr. Gardner said. But
Well, we don't know what kind of funding you guys have even to do this kind of work, because it seems like it's going to be very expensive job. And I know last meeting, I know Mr. Sutton expressed that had some funds to come in to do the work, and we're not questioning any of that. But this board has its limitations also. If we were, and I'm not saying we would, but if we were to give men to be the opportunity to move forward in their desire to renovate the property, we have limitations on the amount of time we could even allow for that. And I'm even afraid you wouldn't meet that goal because within 45 days, you need a work write-up and permits and the engineering reports and all those type things. And you don't even have the report back from Mr. Sharp on whether you want to renovate. That's why I want to know whether is men to be really locked in on their desire to renovate this property. I mean, if it's the thing, yeah, we like to, but it's not, the end all of everything, that would give us a little more information to work with. But sir,
let Carly know.
yeah, can you give us your full name and position or title for the record?
Yes, my name is Carlos Duran. I'm with Fuentes Building Group, and I am the project manager for the company, and I was the one overseeing attics for the demolition portion. I know I'm kind of going away of what you just asked. The only reason why I wanted to come up here was to kind of just say, I guess, our part in that sense and what we stood in here. We were hired by meant to be through Demond Sutton to just to do the demolition part on our side. Obviously they came in with the ideas of moving towards the rest of the building with what was going on. And we understood that, but like how we expressed and Mr. Sutton agreed with us, we have to take it a step at a time. We can't sit here and say, hey, we're going to go put on trusses right away because we can't see anything yet. There's still plenty of debris that we have to clean up. So we started with that, with them going kind of back and forth saying that, okay, we're gonna go back, find an engineer and do these things. So they showed initiative to go for that, which we're okay with. At the end of the day, we could still at least go through our part. So we were hired on to do the demolition. We did that part. I do agree with Mr. Gardner when he said for the bracing. We never said that the bracing was engineered to withhold that or anything. More or less, it was just what we could see at that point is better than nothing, right? So we had guys that were working on the exterior. We had guys that were working on the interior. So we added those bracing in our sense that we're an engineer. We agree to that. And the straps that come along system that we put in for the interior wall, just for safety reasons, just in our sense to make us feel a little bit better. Once we completed the demolition, from that point on, we obviously said that, from here on out, I think the engineer is required to come in and give us kind of what the next steps are. We can't come in and say, we're going to go through this, which I think that's where Mr. Darrell provided the contact for Mr. Sharp. And from that point on, that's where we were waiting from our end what next steps are. And like you said, Mr. Gardner said, I agree with him. This is going to take an immense amount of funding. The funding aspect, Mr. Sutton knows, and I think they've been trying it day by day. So it kind of gets a little bit on both sides in a sense. I understand this is a safety issue, and I totally agree with it. At the end of the day, I think that's why you guys are here, is to make that decision. So the main thing that we wanted from our end, from Fuentes Building Group, was to show that we did the demolition with the areas clean. It was able for the engineer to come out and look and see, kind of make a solid decision on if the area is salvageable. But in the aspect of, like you said, your question for funding, I think that's something that Mr. Sutton can answer more than I can. But that was more or less our stuff. The bracing that we provided wasn't for an engineer to hold up the walls. We actually did discuss on the idea of using the exterior brick as a veneer, kind of like siding, and build something interior that would be the structure that would hold the trusses that would be coming on. But in order for us to be able to continue with that, we needed to make sure we had a proper planning with an architect or an engineer to let us know how we would build those up. But other than that, then that's kind of where we're at on our end. Demond, I don't know if you want to clarify on the funding.
On the funding, before I get to the funding, me and Desmond were just talking. If it comes back, we would be able to demolish. There is a design where we could take it all down and build it back up just the way it is, correct, Mr. Gardner, in your opinion? We could reestablish it, tear it down and build it back up, and use a lot of the same brick, and to assimilate. If it is determined that it is, I'm talking about the back wing, okay, the main back wing. He's not talking about that whole old building. They were talking about just that L shape.
Yeah, we're talking about
that is has been discussed. But my thought is from Mr. Desmond asked, who would have to fund the demolition of that?
the property owner.
All right, then. Okay. All right.
The city would not be responsible for that.
So
Yeah.
that's another reason why we want to wait for that report to see. That may be to determine what's most economic. There's money to be worked with, but I don't know. He doesn't know if it's enough money to tear down and rebuild from ground or renovate. And the experts can do that and give them that information. And at this point, I will sit down unless you have another question for me and let the funding guys, you can ask me any other funding questions.
I want to ask Mr. Duran a question. Since you're the contractor and you're used to building, you've had
Yes.
big projects you've done before.
Yes, sir.
Just a wild guesstimate
Sure.
what do you think it would cost to repair that building back up to code? Just a wild guess.
I couldn't tell you that honestly, to be honest with you, because it all depends on where they want to move forward, right? So there's an aspect on defining costs relating to what the engineer requires. We could say, I want to put 20 trusses on there, but if the engineer says he needs 25, then that adds a significant cost. The same thing on what it plays into effect, like how Minty have the historical credits that they've applied for. So obviously those require specific guidelines on how the structure should appear, what material should be used, all those items. So I couldn't even give you for a wild guess what would be the cost. You're right, it is going to be very expensive. That's out the gate. But from my end, I think that, like you said, I think whatever report comes out, whether it's from Mr. Sharp or whatever, to define a cost right now, it's not from my end right now.
All right. And last question I got for you is safety concerns for your employees.
Yes.
Where is your awareness on that as far as where the building stands now to have your employees in working on it?
Like I said, we went through the demolition part. We worked from the inside out. Once we did the inside, we took care of all the debris on the inside. We saw that there was still some attachment of the roofing system on the exterior wall. So from that point, we searched on the exterior and just remove all that out. I'm not going to say that it's easy to walk through. There are some areas that are hazardous. We try to follow as much of the protocol as we can. We spoke with Mr. DeArmond as well to let him know, hey, this is what we're doing. These are the steps that we're taking. We did go underneath the basement and look at kind of like where one of the exterior walls that's caving in, where it's at as well. But like anything, it's a risk. We obviously take into account our due diligence with our insurance and all those items in case anything happens. But we worked through the demo and we're here. So in that aspect, like you said, anything is doable. But that's hopefully that answered your question.
So on that, I have another
Yes,
question
ma'am.
for you. If you built a structure inside.
Yes, ma'am.
And that carried the weight, the Boeing bricks, and used it as a siding or veneer.
Yes, ma'am.
That's still very dangerous and can fall.
Yes.
out.
Yes, so that would take, obviously, it would kind of see, again, it goes more or less with what the engineer says. If we're able to reuse that brick, or if that brick is too porous, or if it's too decayed from the elements, that he'll tell us, hey, yeah, that we just threw that idea out to say, hey, you could use this instead of how it was back then, where it was carrying the load, how it was. So from our end, it was just an idea. We've done it before, obviously on a smaller residential project, but that's something that we just brought an idea up, and Mr. Gardner brought it up as well. And so it's something that an engineer would more likely tell us if it's doable or not.
And then the question I have, my biggest concern is the children that are getting inside the building.
Yes, ma'am.
With the plywood, obviously you've screwed it in. Who's unscrewing that? Who is taking it down? Is it the workers are taking it down, forgetting to put it back up, kids are getting inside? Or are these kids getting up there prying it off? Is the wood rotten to where the screws aren't holding?
Yes, ma'am. From our aspect, we unscrewed the plywood from the second floor because that's where we were throwing out the debris to the dumpsters. As well as that's where we put our chute to kind of throw the debris into the dumpsters. On the first floor, I don't know. I think it's like the chief said, it's a mixture of everything. You have it's on a side of town that's really, there's a lot of traffic, obviously, and it could be several things. It could be, some of it could be us, some of it could be other people that are just trying to get in. Like you specified, there was people that were going into the basement side that we aren't working on that side, that are unscrewing those and going into sleep. I mean, so it's kind of a mixture of everything. But
And then, it may not be a question for you, but moving forward, what is the plan to keep humans out of it? Is there a way to do that?
same thing, at least for mine, the only thing I can say on that is I think it's as much as we can. I think the fence is obviously a thing. The main thing is trying to move it forward, I think, to show that work is being done, I guess. So as quickly as we can get any report from anybody to tell us what steps do we take, I mean, we're able to go in there and move exponentially to make sure that whatever, the engineer tells us to do, that we do it as fast, as efficiently as possible.
I have a question, Mr. Duran.
Yes.
Who instructed you to install the stiffeners?
That was me from my end. Yes,
You
sir.
decided yourself?
Yeah, that was, like I said, it was from my end to to just kind of put something there. We did notice that the exterior walls were bowing out, even when we started kind of taking away that debris from the top side. So like I said, it was something better than nothing from our end. But and nowhere was it just a, hey, this is what's gonna hold up the walls. It's, if it goes down, if it does, at least there's something there in our eyes. Yeah.
But you're significantly concerned for your safety. That's why you put them up.
Not more or less significantly. It's just, it's like anything. It's like if we're on a roof, doing a roofing on a residential, we put our harnesses on, not because, if you fall from that roof, you're gonna die, but, it's more or less that it's not gonna be as much. So it's just regular safety for us, just to play it safe. Any other questions? Sorry.
Mr. Chair, can I ask Mr. Kelly something, a clarification? Because we're talking
Sure.
about the veneer walls, possibly building a new building on the inside using the current exterior. The roof is still going to bear weight on that exterior wall, even though you built a new interior. And then from the basement, from the pictures I saw, there's walls, and Mr. Fluentes, or Mr. Carlos just said that they're collapsed in the basement.
Yeah, you don't really have anything to work with on the exterior. I did a project in Owensboro probably 20 years ago, Owensboro Symphony, downtown, solid brick masonry like this. And we had to come in and literally build a stud wall system with shear walls and just through tide the veneer, the brick, what was exterior load bearing, made it non-load bearing. The new walls inside would be bearing all the load. A couple things that I didn't think to mention earlier. When you go to build back, you have to meet current code. And unreinforced brick masonry is what you've got. This building won't meet current code in terms of seismic. That's your biggest problem. So there's no way to just put a new roof on it and say, oh, we're good. Okay, there's a way, but it's extremely expensive. And it wouldn't look like the same structure. The other problem is, if I remember right, this portion of the building is on National Historic Registry. And I've not done a ton of those projects. I was involved with the Fire Museum that REB did. I know there were a lot of hoops and criteria they had to meet to stay within the guidelines of the National Historic Registry. I don't know if you could rebuild it and meet those guidelines and meet the building code. There's a lot of conflicts between those two sets of criteria. So if you envision building a stud wall within the building or a steel frame, you've got to figure out how you put the foundations in. I don't see any way to keep the walls up that are there and build a structure inside of it. I see bringing it all down, clear out the site, do new foundations, and then a new structure is the most logical, in my opinion, the way to do it. And safest.
Based on your experience in the architecture world, what would you see as an estimate, just hypothetically throw something out, that would cost to fix that?
In describing what I just did,
Correct.
in terms of
Doing it properly.
getting a usable structure at this point, I think is bringing it down, building back new. In cost of materials are astronomical right now. I just was on the phone today with a steel fabricator. He warned me of some projects coming up. He said, if you don't get them out for bid soon, they're going to blow the budget. So structural steel has really skyrocketed. And I assume that means all other wood and masonry will follow. So you're over $1 million, in my opinion, just to get it down and back to a basic shell. That's not any finishes or any real usable space. That's just a 2-story box, basically. But again, having to meet the current code is really what makes a lot of this difficult, because it's really hard to make an unreinforced brick masonry building meet the earthquake loads for Hopkinsville.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to speak. Can I be sworn in, please?
You raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and so say I do? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and so say I do? Okay, can you give us your full name and who you're representing? And Your address too. Are you local?
Okay, my name is Ladessa Lewis, the co-founder and executive director of Men to Be. You said my address?
Yes.
My address is 507 Cambridge Drive here in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. And I probably am the most emotional one when it comes to this addicts project, so I try to refrain from speaking on it. But I would like to say that this is a historic landmark here in Hopkinsville, and that's why we are trying so hard to preserve it. I did not go to that school, but my parents did. For Hopkinsville, you would think this would be something amazing for this city to stand on, to preserve this monument or legacy. It's heartbreaking that Men to Be is the only one sees the significance of it. Men to Be has took its fundraise money or money that has been given to support the young men in the community to withstand what has been so far. That has been, for us, saw it as an opportunity for what was to what can become. We have spent money on historic credits. We were able to do that, which we have $300,000. If you all tear this building down or make us tear it down, we lose that $300,000. We rushed because we do know the significance of the code violation to try to get the debris cleaned up, which I do believe that it was said that it was impossible. But as we can see, it was possible. Fuentes Construction went in, cleaned it up, got the debris, and was able to do what they could do with the funds that we had. These are funds that Men to Be has put into this building, not the city of Hopkinsville, and not the people that say they care so much about the children going in and out that building. I'm not saying kids don't go in buildings, but it's funny that 2 days or 3 days before we got to stand before you all, somebody is in and out of that building. Not only should you be patrolling the area for that building, you ought to be patrolling the area about the drugs and all of the disarray that's going on in that town. If addicts is able to do what it needs to do, it could change many lives, not just Black lives, not just white lives, not just whatever race there may be. This is a community that should wrap up their arms around it instead of trying so hard to fight it. We have meetings 5 days a week now. I don't see nobody worried about the kids that we serve, but all of a sudden we're worried about the kids in the neighborhood. We worried about the kids in the neighborhood. So what I would say was, give us time. Patrol the area. Make sure there ain't no homeless people going over there. Make sure ain't nobody getting in there. That's what you could do to help Men to Be, to give us the time to find the money. Who would have thought we would have been able to do this much, a small organization? I'm gonna say it was Jesus. So I'm asking today, would you all allow us the time? We have the tax credits. We have the engineers. We have everything that we need, but we just need the time. Do we have $1 million right now? But they have $1 million grants all around this state, helping people preserve historic places. This is a historic spot. If we tear that building down, we don't have history anymore. So again, all I'm asking is that the city of Hopkinsville see the significance of how it could change the lives of the people that live here. I've lived here for 48 years. So many of my classmates, my family members leave here and it looks horrible. Let's get together and make something positive that we can all stand on and say, that's what we did in my city. So that's what I'm asking today. And that's how you'll show that you care about the young people that live in this community. Thank you.
Okay, okay, Ms. Lewis, I don't disagree with what you said. Um, but, I guess I just want to say that, we're not here to indict anybody. You guys are doing an excellent job with men to be. The city does what it can do too. And, as far as responsibility, I know, I've been in this city for 40 years now, since I moved here, and addicts has been a topic of discussion about renovating for a long time. And there are a lot of organizations who could have taken steps to do something about that building before it got to this condition. But
Correct.
men to be decided to do that. Now we're just looking at the reality, the facts. We're not, taking the emotion out of it. I know it's very emotional, and I know it's a historic site.
Yes,
I didn't go to school there either, but we just got to look at the facts now.
yes,
It
sir.
does take money to do what you're asking, and I understand you guys got tax credits,
Yes.
which will be a great deal, and you got some historical money. That's all great, but is that enough to put this in a position to be restored? And that's what we're here to question. People's motivation and motives is not what we're here to do. But I appreciate your
And
passion about it.
yes, that is my passion. Is what I would also like to give us an opportunity that people that to restore history and know that this can be done. Like I said, we talked to Mr. Potts. We had a community meeting that the community was allowed to come to show that these things are possible. What we're doing is not that it's impossible. Time is against us, but it's not that it's impossible. So
Okay.
also
well,
that opportunity to let somebody speak that likes to save historic buildings.
Yeah, well, we're not opposed to that. We're not
Yes,
opposed to that. The question about time, though, because of the imminent safety risks to the community. And, we do care about the kids. I know it may not be obvious, but I believe the fire chief spoke sincerely about the safety of this community. He knows the risk of that. Engineers shared that. And I believe this board believes that, we're not that we don't care. And we know this town has a lot of issues. But it's not that we don't care. Not that we don't care.
Odessa,
So,
Yes.
I love what you're doing over there. I really do. And I commend you for it because it takes the first person to stand up to make a change, and you have. Unfortunately, I'm afraid that if we don't make a decision, the KRS statute's going to make it for you. And I'm sorry, and I love old buildings. And if it's savable, I would want to save it. And I just wanted to tell you sincerely that I love what you're doing.
I mean,
And I'm sorry if this doesn't turn out.
yeah, I appreciate it. At the end of the day, Jesus had the last say. And I'm gonna go with that. If it stands, if it didn't, we fought until we couldn't fight no more. And that's all I can say. And then it's in y'all's hands to do what you all feel best. And if y'all can live with it, then we just gotta roll with it. And,
It's an impossible situation.
I wouldn't say impossible. I just say it's on you all to make that decision, what's possible and impossible. Like I said, we asked for time. We know that we've been given time, but we need more time. And that's what we're asking. We're asking for more time. And if that answer is no, then we just have to go from there. But we've stood our piece. They've spoken what they've said. It's not that it can't be done, but the city didn't allow us the time. And that's what it is.
okay, we spent a great deal of time on this case, and I appreciate everyone's input. Is there anyone else who needs to speak? Not necessarily wants to speak, but who needs to speak to give us any information for us to make this?
I have one question, sir.
Yes.
We're talking about definitely those who've been involved, that L on the back is the main.
Can you step closer
We're
to the
talking
mic?
about the L on the back. I'm asking this to the chief and engineer, and where the walls are falling out, those three walls.
We're talking about the old section.
That L, the whole.
The whole section.
Okay, all right, 10.
It's
Okay, all right.
the 1916 section.
Yeah, because I didn't know if it was capable of taking, because that main run in the front, could it be reestablished?
possible to demo part of it and not demo.
Yeah, y'all need to, if you're gonna speak, you need to come to the microphone. We need to, if you need to give a, yeah, so everyone can hear.
It's my understanding that it would be impossible to just demolition part of the old structure without demolition of the entire.
The entire, okay,
Honestly, I think it's gonna be hard enough as it is to demo the old structure. And then you're still gonna have an opening on the new structure. We not only have to demo it, but we have to leave that structure to where it's within code, because we're gonna have an entire open side of that building. So that part's not gonna be easy either, but it's what our plan would be.
Doug,
yes.
can I get some clarification, Doug? I just want to make sure, because every structure we've ever looked at, we've looked at it as one structure and not like a house that had a house fire. We're going to tear down this one bedroom. If it's out of code, help me to make sure I'm understanding it properly. Is it one
This
structure?
is different than anything that's been presented because it's my understanding from the testimony that this only relates to a portion of the structure and that the newer portion is not unsafe. So pursuant to KRS and established case law, you would only need to abate the nuisance, which would be the old portion and not the new portion. That answer your question?
Yes, sir. That's it.
Okay, yes, sir.
If I'd add a little more clarification to what Chief said, you can see the photo there. On the left side where the roof colors change, that is the break between the original and the new 1950s. There is actually a gap between the old building, new building right there. When we did the first walkthrough, I've got some photos, unfortunately, I don't have them with me. There was a hole in the wall. I was like, what is going on here? And I could see the original east wall of the main school, the original school building. And you can see the stone foundation all the way through from ground to roof. There's a gap, probably 30, 36 inches wide. So that makes it a little easier to get the old one down. You'll have the openings at the hallways, but demoing the original building won't be detrimental to what's left. It's my main.
Okay, thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you for
sharing that.
that clarification.
Okay, I believe we have heard a lot of testimony, and we're ready to move forward as a board. So we're gonna, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Let me swear you in. Can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do. I do. Okay, can you please state your full name and address and position or relationship to the men to be?
My name is Teresa Moss. My address is 1701 Lovers Lane, Hopkinsville, Kentucky. I am a member of the Men to Be's Board of Directors. And as a member of that board, I want to sort of explain where we are in the process. And thank you also for allowing us the time to do as much as we have been able to do with the building and getting contractors to come in and clear the debris, which was the first step. Then the second step is to get the engineer in to help us and tell us how to shore up the walls, get trusses to build the roof, and get the wall structure sound. That's what we're working on. That's what was presented to us. We know that we have tax credits for the historical preservation of the building. And as Ms. Lewis said, if there is no historical preservation, anything to preserve, then we're back at square one. We won't get the funds that they have already allotted us. And so we need the time to give you a timeline of when that roof and those trusses will be built and in, and get the proper credentials that we need for rebuilding and restructuring in the city. And it takes time. We can't do anything in 30 days or 2 days or 2 weeks or 7 weeks. And granted, yes, we have had since the last time in June or July it was when we met the first time and you gave us the extension. We took advantage of that extension to get the people in to clear the debris. And now we would like to work toward getting the proper people in to restore this roof, restore this historic landmark in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. Yes, I was a junior high school student there many, many years ago. My mother graduated from Attucks High School, and she is 93 today. There are several people in this town who want to see that building restored. And again, as a board member, we can't have it restored without help, without grants, without the tax credits that have been granted to us. But in order to utilize those tax credits, we have to spend the money first to have the work done, and then they'll give the money back to us. The money is there, the funds are there, and we just need more time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to close the hearing on this case at this time. The board is going to deliberate in open session, so you'll be able to hear what we're discussing. But the board's going to make a decision on this case, and we're going to move forward. So the hearing is now closed. Board members, our first order of business is to determine whether or not a violation has taken place. Now, this is an unusual structure, as we've already discussed. This whole structure, part of it, it's identified as unsafe, and the other is identified as safe, but it needs some property renovations. Now, just for information, on the unsafe structures, we are limited in the amount of time. They're requesting time, but we're limited in the amount of time that we can allow the organization if we choose to do so. On the property maintenance, that's going to involve the organization working with the city and code officers to get those things corrected. So we're going to open the floor for discussion, a deliberation, any comments from board members, or we'll entertain a motion in regards to the violations of the unsafe structure and for the property maintenance.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to go ahead and give them more time. That's my personal opinion.
Well, we're not, well, I understand, okay.
Well,
First
give
we
them more-
determine whether they're even in violation.
Well, I'd like to give them more time by tabling this matter until the next meeting. I know it's a little extreme because they've already been granted time on that same notion. But that's
Okay.
where I stand at the moment.
Okay, anybody got any comments? You didn't make that in the form of a motion, but anybody else want to respond to what? Mr. Calvin is-
I'd like to ask Doug a question real quick. Doug, what is our exposure as a board and the city of Hopkinsville if we decide to table it or even give them more time, and somebody comes on that property, a kid inside the fence or inside the building collapses and kills that person? What is our exposure now that we've gotten the report from Mr. Gardner, that it's of imminent danger of falling, and we keep extending time? What is our exposure?
I think that exposure would be with the property owner. I don't think this board would have exposure, but it does have an obligation. So, but I think legal exposure would be with the owner of that property.
And that also depend on how much effort they put into keeping people off their property. Because people can always climb the fence or.
All of those matters would be taken in consideration, but I can tell you, if there is an injury or a death, you can bet that there will be a lawsuit against everybody
Oh,
involved.
yeah.
Would
And
they be able to hire a security company 24/7 if we gave them 30 days? Is it in their funds to do that so that they can ensure no one goes in there? That's my biggest concern is the loss of life. But if they can post someone that is patrolling, that they pay, I mean, is that something that we can ask them to do?
I think the power that's been granted to this board by ordinance is limited. It's to determine whether or not there's a violation. And if there is a violation, it's to determine whether or not to give time. And the time is limited by ordinance to 90 days to abate that nuisance, either by demolition or by repairs. And you're limited by the city law in that respect.
Can they put some more barriers in place to keep people off the property? Or even getting up to the steps or anything? Is that an option?
I mean, they can do any of those, they can do any of those things, but like, city attorney has said, you know, our job is limited too. We first need to just determine whether or not there is a violation. Is there a violation of a
We
city
make a motion,
ordinance?
there's a violation.
Then once that's determined, then we determine the penalty or the amount of time we can allow them to bring the violation up to standards.
A motion's been
You know,
made.
but how to do those things is not, the how is not necessarily our job. Now, I will say this too. If I know the discussion is about tabling, if we decide to table this for, let's say, another month, we're basically giving them the de facto another 30 days
Yeah.
where no action is taken by this board. And I'm sure they would appreciate that. However, that does not tie the hands of the fire chief of taking action based on Kentucky state law.
And which he said he
Now,
would do.
I don't know what his thing is like that, but he's looking at from the aspect of health and safety of the citizens of Hopkinsville. You know, they might approach him and say, we can hire security, we can shore up the plywood, we can do all these things, we can put up cameras. I don't know, but we're getting outside of our lane when we're trying to find all the fixes, all the solutions for men to be in this case.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that it does exist. The burden's been proven that it does exist.
Mr. Chairman, have we already made a motion?
No, he just made the motion.
No, I made a motion before that.
No,
About
you didn't.
tabling.
You did not state it in the form of a motion.
Yes,
And
I
it
did.
needed, well, I apologize. I didn't hear you state that in the form of a motion.
I'll withdraw my
Did
motion
you-
and let him carry on.
Okay, well,
Let the record reflect then that you made a motion
Okay.
to continue to
Table.
the next, to defer to the next
To the
meeting.
next
Is that-
meeting.
yes.
I second
apologize.
it.
And you second?
Second it.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second that the board, we table this case for until our next meeting, approximately another 30 days. Any questions on that motion?
Mr. Brooks, I'd like to ask, what is our basis for tabling the hearing?
To give them time to get their results or findings in from their architect.
I respect that. Mr. Brooks, if I got the dates right here, June 23rd was the hearing.
I know.
We instructed them June 23rd that they needed more information at that point.
Right.
That was June 23rd. August the 6th, if I caught all the conversation right, August the 6th, last Thursday, was the contact with Keith Sharp. And Keith Sharp, this was an emergency mode meeting for him. He got out there in 3 business days. He showed up Monday. He may have had things he had to move, but when you see a roof down, you make provision to get out there quickly, and he did that. 3 business days. I respect Keith's turnaround there. But the fact is that we had, I'm not counting the days, what's that, a month and a half before from hey, we need more information to making that reservation, to making that
Well, like,
call.
well, like I stated before, it was an extreme move to go ahead and table it and give them more time to get their information in.
And they have a lot to lose by tearing down that existing, if they have even one chance. How can I say that I love historic properties and tear it down if they're a week away from getting an answer from if it can be saved?
And I do understand that one of the main concerns here is safety. And I mean, you can put up all the fences and walls that you want around the place. People are going to get in if they want to get in, whether it be the homeless, whether it be children. All we can do is hope that they make it more secure and keep those people out and keep vandals from getting in. But I'd like to
Okay.
give them every opportunity to try to revamp this property.
Okay, so, Mr. Brooks, your main intention are for this motion is that you want to give them more time.
Yeah.
To what end result? To get the report back from the,
Get the report back, for them to move forward.
and if that report, or if they're not ready to move in any kind of direction by that meeting, or
They're just
will you
gonna
be
come
ready
back.
to?
Yeah, it's going to come down anyway after
The
that.
fire chief has the authority to take it down but we have the authority to make a vote today and give them a little more time. Because if they have no historic building, they have no historic credits.
We got that. Yeah, we heard the testimony. Well, I mean, any other comments from board members? Yeah.
We allow them more time, then we need to go back, and other people that has asked for time, give it to them. Does it
No,
break our rule?
we're only talking about
90
this
days?
case. We're not talking about other cases or anything
Well,
else.
and we haven't
only
done that
discussing
in the
this.
past.
We've not done that in the past.
And I'll state my concerns. They've had plenty of time. Mr. Gardner's put out 3 different reports. They've got a copy of all 3 reports each time. This has been since January. I'm talking about the January start. You all know the condition of the building. So,
Okay.
Mr. Chair, my biggest concern is over the safety of a child or an adult or somebody getting killed. I want to be able to sleep at night.
But that responsibility will fall on the homeowner, or property owner.
No, it'll fall on me because we've got the opportunity to say, no, it's coming down now because it's going to fall.
But I mean,
Based on the engineers.
Fire chief's going to tear it down.
it could fall today.
Well, there's a motion and a second.
Yeah.
And we'll vote on it. But I'm going to say one thing, that I think that we as a board have an obligation, and just saying we can cop out and lay it at the feet of one man is wrong.
No,
of
I'm
this
saying we're
board.
giving them an opportunity.
I understand that, and I would love to give them an opportunity too. I really would. I think
Yeah.
that is unfair. That this obligation falls on this board, and I don't like that obligation, but it is our obligation. You know, I think we have an obligation to act.
Let's vote.
And I agree,
Okay.
it's a tough decision.
I completely agree with that. And there, no matter what we do tonight, there's going to be a lot of
No, it's a
upset
bad
people,
situation.
no matter which way you go. There's
It's a bad
without
situation.
question.
Okay, so for clarity, Mr. Brooks, you're requesting that we table this motion.
Yes.
Now, we have a unsafe structure meeting that's going to take place in approximately a couple weeks. So that's the next meeting. So if you want to be more specific as far as like another future date, like the September meeting, you might want to clarify that, but
Well,
I'm saying we're
when is
gonna
that
have
next meeting?
2 weeks.
Oh, in 2 weeks.
What's the next meeting?
That 2 weeks will
We
give
have
them.
an unsafe structure that we plan to bring to
That's
you
what
on
they're-
August 25th. And then the next regular meeting after that would be September the 8th.
And then would you get your architect
So,
or in 2 weeks?
so,
Early. Yeah, he was able to do it.
so the next meeting will be August 25th. That's in a couple of weeks.
Mr. Lynch said that they would be able to get their report by then.
Maybe the fire chief. can
Okay,
tear it down.
okay, so we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. We're ready to vote.
Yep.
Just wanted you to understand, next meeting is August 25th.
Okay.
Okay, so it's been motion in second. There's been questions and discussion. I think we're ready to vote. I'm gonna ask for a roll call vote on this matter.
Before that, can we clarify the motion? Just crystal clear. We're
Yeah.
saying to
Table until the next meeting.
To the
which
next
is
meeting,
August
which is
25th.
August 25th.
August 25th, and we're asking for what on August 25th?
For us to vote on whether or not it's a violation and whether or not the project's going to be torn down.
The piece of information we don't have now that we will have at that point
Is
Yeah.
Mr.
is going to
Sharps.
be professional advice
Right.
from men to be.
Okay, we're ready to vote.
So it kind of depends on what their architect, who's the architect,
Well,
that their architect has to say to whether or not the structure can be.
And they even said
Well-
that if he tells them that they need to tear it down, they understand that.
well,
What's gonna be done to make sure that people's not going in the building?
But they have to secure the fences and doors and,
Not worked so far.
Not worked, and I did note that the fence was installed at the request of the fire department.
And the city's paying for it.
So the security that's been put in place was done by somebody else.
okay, let's vote.
Kelvin Grubbs,
We're voting yay to table or nay to not table. Is-
Crystal Kirkman,
Yes.
David Howell,
Nay.
Callan Brooks,
yes.
Connie McGahey, Mark Graham.
No.
Mr. Chairman, you will need to break the tie.
No.
Motion does not pass.
Okay, so we will not be tabling the meeting based on that motion. So, like I said, our first order of business in front of us, we need to determine by a motion, and second, that a violation has taken place.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move that the violation has taken place.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor, let me know by the sign of aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, we have one nay for that. All right, so the motion carries. Our next order of business now is to determine the penalty for this violation. The fine ranges from $350 to $700, plus there is a $200 administrative fee. And understandably, we are on the unsafe structure part of this motion. As a board, we are allowed to give additional 90 days for the offender to remedy the violation, as we discussed earlier, by getting reports, permits to the city in regards to their plans on renovation. That's not a required thing, that we're not required to allow that time, but it is in our We are allowed to do that. So at this time, the floor is open for discussion, so we can deliberate, discussion, ask questions, whatever, and then we'll entertain a motion on the penalty side of this.
I make a motion that we assess $350 penalty with whatever administrative fees, $200 administrative fees.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second. Any questions on that motion? Well, there wasn't in the motion, so comment was made, there's no remedy. You did not, in that motion, state any desire for giving them extra time or anything,
Oh,
or, you know,
and I
if
amend
that's
it
what you, yeah.
to add the remedy of giving them the 90 days that we have at our disposal to give them.
Okay, so the motion is to, there be assessed a penalty of $350 plus $200 administrative fee, plus you're recommending that we give them the maximum amount of time of 90 days to meet the requirements of the regulation.
Second.
Okay, and it's been second. Okay, so the floor is open for questions or discussion.
Like to just, I have some thoughts that may possibly be helpful. I don't know. I think the burden of repairing this that's there is to show that it is repairable. And there's an expert testimony to one side that says that it's not possible. There's a question of, is it practical? Is there a plan in place? Are the costs understood? Is there funding available? There are so many hurdles that haven't been answered. I would love to see Men2B make something else that's impossible possible, okay, to make a positive of this. I think that this perhaps could be seen as a positive release for Men2B, that your efforts and your mission are not that of the building undertaking, but focused efforts on the mission of Men2B. I know that everybody on this board we're not happy to be doing this tonight. We're not. I would love to see this end in a creative, good way, for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. My concern is, I know the request of time of 90 days to do what needs to be done is on the floor. Just not sure 90 days is going to be sufficient. We don't know what tomorrow brings. We don't know whether there's going to be a storm, whether there's going to be someone who potentially gets injured by being around the property. But we do know certain things, and we need to take those in consideration in our decision making. And the condition of this building is one of the things we know. What we don't know is whether it can be restored. So I just say that we, to the best we can, stick to what we know. And the organization, as Mr. Howell stated, is a great organization, and buildings, buildings come and go. They're not meant to last forever. You can restore them, but in time, everything decays, breaks down. It requires upkeep, requires maintenance. Our own homes in that same vein. But the mission of what we do in life, the mission of what lives we touch and impact is more important than the structure. Any other comments, deliberations, questions before we vote on this motion? Okay, so we're going to ask for a roll call vote again. I don't know where everyone is, but I want to make sure we get the count right in regards to this motion, the fine and the request for 90 days.
I'm unclear. What is the 90 days?
So in the 90 days,
Bring it back up to code.
they're,
To demo it? Or
No.
to?
No, to bring it back
no,
up to
no, no,
code.
to bring it back to standard, to bring it back to a reasonable standard. And maybe the city attorney can give us
I'll
more
just-
details, but
I'll just read from the ordinance. This is in 33.189. And with regard to any hearing concerning an unsafe structure, the Code of Ordinance Enforcement Board, as part of its decision and written order, in addition to the fines set forth above, may additionally make provision for the offender to cure the violation. Said provision shall not exceed 90 days. In addition, there's a limitation within 45 days of submitting a work write-up, getting permits, et cetera. But it is to cure.
So within 90 days, they're supposed to have this entire building back up to code.
Either that or an abatement, which could be a demo. Both of those would be a cure of the violation.
And guys, Mr. Carlos, I don't see anybody being able to do that. I just don't see it happening. And I want to be able to lay my head down at night knowing that if a kid or an adult gets killed in that building, I want to be able to sleep at night. This building could be rebuilt. Their heritage could be rebuilt in a beautiful, nice building, just like the new high school. You know, I'm the safety thing I just can't imagine a kid getting killed in that building.
So what you're saying is there's no possible way in 90 days y'all could make,
but the hearing is closed.
Yeah, he
Sir,
can't talk.
the hearing is closed. We're not taking any more testimony. We've talked long enough. We're here to move forward.
Yeah, so like I said, we've got a subject matter expert that studied it and said that it's not possible. There is no plan on the table. Work right up in 45 days to rehab it. I'm just trying to figure out what it is that we're actually doing. Got on the one hand, it's not possible, and you've got on the other hand, give us 90 days to rehab it, which seems like empty loop. We're not. The question answered by a question.
so I guess I withdraw my motion if it's not possible.
Mr. Chair, with her
Okay.
withdrawing her motion, I'll make the motion that we abate the property immediately, the section that needs to be taken down, and leave the section up that they can use and turn into classrooms, have the gym, and I think there was talking about using the basement for mechanical engineering or classes and stuff like that.
Is there, you got something in regards to the fine also?
Yes, sir, the minimum fine and the $200 administrative fee.
Okay, is there a second? There's a second to that motion. Everybody hear this motion?
I heard it.
You want to restate it or you want me to?
Yeah, I'll
say it?
make the motion that assess the $350 minimum fine, $200 administrative fee, and abate the unsafe structures, the two sections there, and leave the other structure alone.
What if?
Let's see if there is a second to that motion. First, is there a second? There's a second. Okay. Now, questions on the motion?
Would it? if the thing has to happen that nobody really wants to happen, and that is that the building has to be torn down, would it be better done by the organization? Where maybe instead of having the city abate, where perhaps you're able to harvest the brick from it,
Yeah.
or some signage
Yeah,
that, you know, I'm not sure exactly what's
I
there.
think his motion to abate doesn't necessarily mean that the city does the abatement. It could be that it's just abatement, and so it could be the organization, and if the organization doesn't do it or can't do it, then the city would take steps to do it. Is that correct?
What is that timeline? What
Well,
does that look
there's
like?
another section in this same ordinance. If the owner or responsible person of an unsafe structure in violation of this chapter fails to properly cure or remedy the violation within 7 days following the entry of an order by the Code of Ordinance Enforcement Board upholding a citation, or within the period to cure as otherwise provided. So you've got a 7-day window, and if that doesn't happen, then it would fall on the city to abate.
What about that other cure, that phrase you said?
That would be if like the 90 days extension, as previously set forth in the ordinance, if they're given 90 days and that doesn't happen, then it would fall on the city to cure.
So by ordinance, if they're given the responsibility to demo, they have 7 days to do it, is what the ordinance
And I
says.
would say that would be in cooperation with CDS, that they would work with them on a timeline, but it was,
Yeah.
by ordinance, it's 7
The
days.
ordinance says 7 days, but I'm sure that the city code officers will work with the organization to allow the time, if they're working toward that goal. If they need, 10 days, let's say, or 14, they would.
It's a lot to do.
Yes.
Just,
And it's not cheap.
if the organization
Yes.
was able to participate in that, and then they may choose not to, they may not want to do that at all. But if that was their,
Yeah, I would think
if that
they
was
would.
their pleasure, they could salvage some materials,
Yeah, I would think
and
they would. I would think
make
they would.
use of that in a creative,
And
positive outcome to come when this wound right here is not so fresh. And that would be a fantastic end to this thing.
And I have no doubt that the city would work along with the organization in that manner, I can't speak for the city, but I believe they'll work with the organization.
So if we approve the motion, my understanding, you're saying they'll have up to 7 days, men to be, to get with the city to work tearing it down themselves.
Yes. Okay, any other questions on the motion? Okay, we're going to take a roll call vote once again. Our clerk can call the names. You have a question on the question is, the motion is that minimum fine of $350 plus a $200 administration fee be assessed, and that the property that is unsafe structure be abated, which means, demolition either by the organization or by the city if they can't accomplish that.
Mr. Chair,
Okay,
shouldn't it be two separate things? The fine and the abatement?
no, that's all, that can all be one. The fine and the abatement is all in one.
Okay.
Are we ready to vote now? Okay, yes.
Kelvin Grubbs,
Nay.
No, that was not you.
Oh, I thought you said- oh, sorry. I thought you said
what was your,
nay.
okay. Crystal Kirkman,
No.
David Howell,
Yes.
Gowan Brooks,
Nay.
Connie McGahee, Mark Graham,
Yes.
that does not pass.
Okay, so that motion fails.
I'll make a second motion. Assess the minimum fine, $200 administrative fee, and give them 10 days to make a decision if they want to tear it down or have the city tear it down.
Okay, still abatement, but You're saying the abatement, you're offering an extension of 10 days?
Give them 10 days to make a decision if they want to do it. And I'm sure that, like David was saying, if they want to save some bricks to incorporate in a new building, I'm sure the
Well-
city would work with them to let them do that.
Okay, let's see if there's a second on that motion. Okay, that motion fails due to lack of second. Okay, let me throw something out as maybe as a proposal. The ordinance allows us to give them an additional 90 days to remedy the violation. And as to cure the violation, as we've kind of discussed, we don't know if that amount of time even would be sufficient. But this question of abatement, how and when and how much time, is what I think is stumping us a little bit now. So I'm of the opinion that maybe we can make a motion that allows for up to 30 days for the organization to cure the property via abatement. And if they're unable to do so, the city will take action after that. Now, that's not to say that the city might take other actions prior to that, because we don't know. But I think, I think we're thinking about the short timeline of 7 days, 10 days. The organization probably needs time to meet, to make decisions, to maybe hire a contractor, to maybe appeal our decision with the Christian District Court. So I'm thinking if we give more time on the fronting and on the abatement, I think we can maybe move this motion forward. So that's my recommendation. I'm not making the motion. I'm leaving that in the hands of board members, but
I'd like to go ahead and make a motion and grant them the 90 days. And assess the fine of, was it $300
minimum.
or $250 administration fee?
350 and then 200.
Oh, 350, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Calvin, what happens at the 90 days? Is that to rehab or is it?
After 90 days, I have to reassess and see if the property needs to be abated.
I don't think the ordinance calls for that. We allow the 90 days.
But 90 days, after 90
the
days,
90
it has to be abated
After
anyway.
90 days, the city, if we grant them 90 days, after 90 days, the city would be able to
Yeah,
abate without reviewing,
right.
without
right.
coming back to ask our opinion or anyone else's opinion.
Right.
So basically,
That's kind of automatic.
basically you're renewing your initial motion, minimum fine plus administrative fee,
Let's
and given 90
go ahead
days
and give them the full 90 days.
to cure the violation.
In that first 45, you've got to have a work write-up done.
Yeah.
Correct.
Which I think they've already submitted, haven't
They haven't
I
submitted
would
anything.
say
they? Haven't
they have
submitted.
not.
They haven't pulled the first permit.
Okay, so,
Second it.
yeah, okay, there's a motion and second. Any questions on the motion? No.
Table.
Any questions, discussion on that motion? Okay, let's vote. I'm gonna call the names again.
Kelvin Grubbs,
Yay.
Crystal Kirkman,
Yes.
David Howell,
No.
Gowan Brooks,
Yay.
Connie McGahey. Mark Graham.
No.
Chairman, you will have to break the tie.
I'm gonna vote yay. I'm gonna vote yes. We'll allow the 90 days.
Motion passes.
Okay, we are ready to move forward on our agenda tonight. I can find my. Okay, do you have papers in the sign this evening, or you? Okay, there are some papers that the Men to Be organization will need to sign. But when those are developed, we will reach out to the organization to get signatures in regard to our decision. Okay, but thank you. Everyone's welcome to stay for the rest of the agenda, if you choose to. Okay, next on our agenda, we have another case, Mr. Darnell West. Let me swear you in. Can you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, if so, say I do?
I do.
Okay, sir, can you please state your name and organization, employer, and position for the record?
Yes, sir. My name is Darnell West. I work for Hopkinsville Fire Department as a code enforcement officer.
Okay, Mr. West, can you tell us about this case on our agenda? Right.
Yes, sir. So tonight I bring you guys a grass, trash, and weed case that the property owner requested a hearing for. The address is 407 Bryan Street. This was a vacant lot, and it was a complaint that was given to us about a pile of junk that was nearing the dead end of Bryan Street. This is a map, overhead view of where the property sits on Bryan Street. To the right is the parcel information where we send all of our notices to. So first inspection was May 20th. As you can tell, picture on the left, big pile of junk, trash, litter. Picture on the right shows you a little bit of the overgrown grass and more of the same with the junk that was left on the property. This is a copy of the notice of violation that was sent to the property owner. As you can see in the instructions, mow to 8 inches or less and maintain. And then down below, remove trash and litter from the property and maintain. On second inspection, which was June 8th, the property was mowed. Picture to the right, you can still see a nice little patch of tall grass, however, not that picky. However, the junk still remained. Because work was done on the property, I went on ahead and sent a courtesy letter allowing them a little bit more time to get this taken care of. And this right here is a copy of said courtesy letter. And with the highlighted points of the ordinances that just kind of back me up, letting them know that there is to be no storage of junk outside and that there is not to be any scattered garbage on any property that is not put in the proper container. More of the same here. These are the ordinances that backs up the reason why I cited this property. And I highlighted the more specifics in red. If you want, I'll read them out to you. If not, I'll give you a little time to go over them. But yeah.
Okay.
All right. And here, just in case, or if there's anybody, I know we got a lot of new members on the board. So if anybody that's kind of unfamiliar with terminology as far as in junk, trash, and litter, I've included the definitions to said language to kind of give you a better understanding of what we're referring to when we're calling a pile of tires junk or deteriorated furniture junk, or if we call tree cuttings trash, right? So the definitions for those wordings are here. Now, this property was a repeat offender. I did not know that until I got into the makings of this case. There was an NOV sent to this property earlier this year in April. From what code enforcement told me was pretty much the same thing. The NOV for that case was resolved and it was abated, so the case was closed. No further action was needed. A notice of violation allows the property owner 10 days to respond by abating the violation or requesting a second inspection or contacting our office and asking for more time. Even though the property was in violation, again, I still sent a second NOV. And I think we all know by now, or for the ones that don't know, that are new, warnings or NOVs are not mandatory. Those are a courtesy. If a violation exists on your property, we can go straight to a citation. Okay. So after the NOV was sent, after the the courtesy letter was sent, I went back for a third inspection. And as you can see here on June 29th, more of the same. The pile actually, to me, looks like it has increased in size. And now at this point, the grass is overgrown again. When in the NOV, we ask you to maintain it. So on July the 8th, the property was issued a citation. And this is what the property looked like during that time. And as you can tell, the grass is in the back is taller than the citation itself. And the pile of junk definitely has appeared to increased in size. This is a copy of the citation that was posted on the property. And on July the 10th, these next four pictures that I'm going to show you are city pictures. Three. These two, the left is when the city got there. The right is after the city did their abatement. And this picture here is just a receipt that they added into the case for a $50 charge for taking the stuff down to the landfill. So let's go down memory lane. On May 14th, I got the complaint for overgrown grass, junk trash, and litter. On the 20th of May was my first inspection. I found the property to be in violation. On the 26th, the NOV was sent to the property owner. And then on June 3rd, there was a conversation had with a lady by the name of Kim Davis of WB Properties. She was asking me about something totally different that I ended up using this property as an example. Somebody dumping on one of their lots. And I explained to her that I was having the same situation going over here. And Miss Davis explained to me that this particular property was one of WB Properties' properties. However, that they sold it to a partner, but that she would get in touch with said partner to try to get the property cleaned up and back up to code. And then on the 8th of June is when I went back, seeing that the property was mowed, but the junk was still there. My apologies. On June 29th, a third inspection was done, and no work at that time had been done. The citation was issued on July the 8th. The city abatement was on July the 10th. And then on July the 13th, I spoke with a gentleman by the name of Buford Jeffries, who contacted me in regards to the notices that he had received on the property. And I just wanted to make note that this was the first time that I had any conversation. Mr. Jeffries explained that he was the property owner. And this was the first conversation that I had with him during the entire process. And so the same day, after kind of listing his options, was when we got the request for a hearing, which is for today. So as of today, this property had 4 previous cases. There is only one lien. The taxes is paid. The lien is up to $704 even. And this is what the property looks like today. Note, Mr. Jeffries, if you are here, the property is in violation again. With all that being said, is there any questions? Well, prior to the garbage removal, it was mowed, but I do not believe it's been mowed since the garbage has been removed at all.
A quick question for you. That appeared to be on the sidewalk, on the curb, that trash.
Mhm.
Why didn't the city pick it up?
Because the city is not going to pick up trash
Trash.
on a property that does not have water service.
Okay, all right. Good to know.
Any other questions?
Okay, any other questions? Okay. Is someone representing Bryan Street Holdings here? Okay, all right, okay. Thank you, Mr. West. All right, sir, come on. forward. Okay, allow me to swear you in?
Yes.
You please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do.
I do.
Okay, can you state your full name and address for the record?
My name is Buford Jeffries.
Okay.
My address is 110 Josie Lane, Clarksville, Tennessee. I am a local community developer and investor.
Okay. All right, Mr. Jeffrey, you want to tell us about this property? that
Yes,
you're the owner
sir.
of?
First, I would like to give these to the committee if I could to pass around.
Okay. What is it that you're giving us?
The receipt that I paid on May the 7th for the trash to be picked up,
Okay.
where Chris from City Waste told me that somebody had came after he had picked up the trash and redumped the trash and that he contacted Mr. West. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to present this case. Again, my name is Buford Jeffries, and I'm appealing on behalf of Bryan Street Holdings and my partners concerning 407 Bryan Street. It is a vacant lot without water turned on because it is vacant. The property beside it is 403 Bryan Street, which has been vacant since November of 2025. At the time of incident, 407 Bryan Street was vacant. No tenant was on residence, were living at the property, and there was no normal household activity at the property that would have generated this trash. Someone illegally dumped material near our property. We reported the problem to code enforcement officer Darnell West. We did not ignore the condition. On May 7th, we made plans to get it removed, as that receipt you see for $154 to remove the materials that we did not place there in the first place. After we paid for that removal, someone dumped material again. Chris with the city also contacted Mr. West and informed him that another dumping had occurred. Therefore, the material later observed was evidence of a new illegal dumping incident, not proof that we failed to remove the original material. There was also an active renovation property duplex across the street at 410, 414 Bryant Street. We are not accusing those contractors without evidence. However, the renovation was an obvious potential source that should have been investigated and possibly considered, especially because our property was vacant and we had already reported illegal dumping. The ordinance quoted in the violation notice states that no person shall deposit or cause trash to deposit on private or public property without a proper container. Bryant Street Holdings did not deposit the material and did not cause anyone else to deposit it. We have not been shown evidence as the owner that we were the ones that placed the material there. Since the incidents, we have cut the trash and put a no trespassing sign in the parking lot, on the lot, to discourage people from illegal dumping in the area. We reported a problem, paid to remove the first pile, notified the city when it had happened again, and took additional steps to prevent further dumping. Imposing the fine and additional charges under these circumstances punishes the property owner who cooperated while the person who actually dumped the material remains unidentified. We asked the board to review the dates. You've seen the photographs, the case notes that were presented. And we are asking that these charges or this case be dismissed and these fines that are waived towards Bryant Street. And Mr. West mentioned that we did not talk until August. I notified him as soon as Chris called me back. I called him and told him that someone was illegal dumping on my trash, trash on my property.
Is this text to Mr. West, you saying?
Yes, sir.
And that's to report that people are illegally dumping on your property?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, while I guess you allowed us to see that as evidence, while that's going on, from the pictures we saw that Mr. West shared with us, the grass also was not addressed, was very high, and there was one cutting, but then it's gotten back where it's where it's not it hadn't been abated.
So we have cut the grass several times since the incident. And I also have a picture on my phone of the grass being cut and also that sign in the yard that I was talking about, of the do not deposit trash on or don't trespass. It is a challenging area. We do try to traffic it. Our plan is to renovate in that area. We have 4 different zones. We started on Maplewood, and we have completed 2 renovations and 1 new construction year to date. So Bryant Street will become our focus. We just needed time to get over there. We've been dealing with challenges. That's not our trash. We haven't had anyone in the property since November of 2025.
Y'all still have this phone? Oh, here's your phone, sir. Come, I don't
Is
want
that a
you to lose
vacant
that.
lot? Okay.
It's a vacant lot, yes.
Next door is where they're building that house. That's what
Go back to the microphone, sir. I'm sorry.
So yes, 403 Bryant Street is right beside it. It is a vacant lot. I mean, it is a house, but it's boarded up and it hasn't been ridden since November of 2025. So we don't have any trash over there. The reason why Mr. West said the city wouldn't pick it up is because there's no water turned on.
service, yeah.
Normally, when the tenant is renovated, they have to have the water, or tenant living in there, they have to have the water on, which what requires trash pickup. So in my, this is just me speaking, I think that the people that were working saw that the city picked up trash and came behind and dumped more trash right there across from my property. I don't have the evidence to show that. I wish I did, but that was going across on across the street and it was not considered.
Okay, sir. So you're the developer
Yes, sir.
in there, and so you're looking to develop that property?
Yes,
Put
sir.
a-
So we have
put a
plans for that
structure.
prop. So our plan for that property is we're going to make it into a duplex, quadplex area with a green safe zone. If you look at Bryant Street, there are no green zones for the kids within the 3 to probably 4 block area radius. The closest one is probably where that bridge goes on. So we want to renovate on 403 and that lot, right? Have that lot so we can create a green space on that street. Have off the street parking there. So we do have plans for that property.
Okay, all right. Now let me ask you this. Before a property is cited, usually the property owner receives an NOV, a notice of violation. Did you receive the NOV?
Sir, I went to the property. The NOV was not on the property. As Mr. West said it was. He said he had put it in the mailbox, but we don't have a mailbox on the property. I didn't see a NOV on 407 Bryan Street. I went to 403 Bryan Street because I didn't see one on 407 Bryan Street to see, okay, was it misplaced? Because if it was on 407 Bryan Street, I would have been able to see it because there's no property there. Also, I did get letters in the mail sent to me.
Okay, that's what, yeah, that's,
I addressed my UPS because I'm getting mail that doesn't belong to me, and my mail is getting misplaced in other boxes. People that have boxes over the last couple of years, I'm still getting mail in my box. So I've been dealing with this ongoing issue. But once I was notified that there was trash there, in May, I immediately sent someone there to pick it up, right? Even though it was not our trash. I called Chris. He went and picked it up.
and then there's new trash.
And there's new trash, and he called me and let me know. And he said he had talked to Darnell and let him know. So then I called Darnell to let him know, hey, somebody is illegally dumping on our trash. And this occurred within days of that me paying for that.
Okay, so you do receive mail at a post office box or at this 407
yes.
Bryan Street?
At a post office box, yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. West, you might need to come forward. Just a quick question. Did you mail the Bryan Street Holdings notice of violation?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay,
Real quick though, I want to debunk a few things. If you
Well,
guys
well,
don't-
first, before you do, you did mail them the NOV.
Yes.
Did you mail it to a post office box or to, okay, I see on here, post office box 3653, okay, in Clarksville, okay. All right, now, go ahead and tell us.
Okay, so first and foremost, one thing that I love about the iPhone is that you can go through your history. I want to debunk one of the things that Mr. Jeffries was saying. Here on my text thread, and I'm going to pass this phone around, our last conversation was March 19th, 2024. As stated in my timeline, the next conversation or text message that I had with Mr. Jeffries wasn't until July the 13th, and I have proof of that, and I want to pass this around. Just kind of debunk that myth.
Okay.
Darnell, did you say 2024?
2024 was the last conversation that I had with Mr. Jeffries prior to July the 13th. Okay. Now, with that being said, the next thing that I want to show you, which is great about the iPhone, is call history, right? He said that he spoke to me during the process. No, the conversation was also on the 13th. And when the phone comes back around, I want to debunk that as well. There was no conversation with Mr. Jeffries. The only conversation that was had was with Mrs. Davis, and that was on 6/3. Now, let me say this. The conversation that Mr. Jeffries is referring to was prior to this case, prior to me ever having sent a notice of violation. He questioned and asked me, hey, what can you do about somebody dumping on your property? Never did I know that 407 was in place for the reason of this call, okay? This was well before any of that. And I gave him the direction of putting up those solar-powered cameras on your property to be able to tell who is dumping on your property That way you can have that person criminally trespassed for illegally dumping. You don't contact us if somebody's dumping on your property, unfortunately, because you are responsible for what's on your property. As the property owner, we're going to come after you anyway, right? So with all of that being said, let me go to my call history here. This is why I love the iPhone.
Well, I don't know if you need to do that, Darnell, because we've been here a long time. I'm not trying to rush things along, but it's your testimony that he did not call you.
And I got proof to show.
Okay, all right, okay.
Okay.
So, because this should be a simple case. It's
believe
grass,
so,
trash, and weeds. You present your evidence, and we've heard from Mr. Jeffries. Is there anything else other than what you showed us that you feel is important?
Absolutely. So he stated that the property was abated sometime during the process and new junk was there. I want everybody to take a look at these pictures. This was on May 20th. You see the shrubbery and you see the box to the left, right, with all of the stuff on top of the pile. Let's look here. What do you still see to the right and to the left? And that was on June 8th, right? You still see the box, you still see the shrubbery to the right, right? Let's go here on the 29th. Shrubbery is gone. Well, somewhat. It's still right there buried in the middle, but what's still on top of that pile? That same box, right? Okay, that's a month later. Here we are on July the 8th. What do y'all see? I rest my case.
Okay. Mr. Jeffries, anything else you wanted to share before we close this case and move on?
So I see the trash there. What was there any? Am I able to ask questions?
Asked of us or asked of Mr. Whit?
Yeah.
You're asked,
You just make your case.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Yeah, 'cause we-
what? I guess my question is, what evidence in this trash shows that it was
From Bryant Street
I think
holding.
that white box was in all 4 sets of pictures that he showed us.
Yes.
Nobody said you put the trash there, but that's your property and the trash is out there, and that same bit of trash has been out there in all 4 sets of pictures.
Okay, so you're saying that no one's saying it is my trash, correct?
Right. We're not
But
saying.
it's your property.
But it's your property. You're responsible for the property. I mean, you have a difficult situation. I can sympathize with you. If I had a piece of property and people dumping stuff on my property, I would not be happy. I'd be very
I'd put
upset.
some
Not
cameras
back.
out.
But that does not negate the fact that it's your property. And it's not Mr. West's responsibility to clean it up for you. It's not his responsibility to police that property, nor ours. I mean, I feel for you.
Okay.
Because I would be very upset if I had a piece of property and I come out of my property and I found all this.
Okay, so as a taxpayer, I don't have protection from people just dumping
You do.
trash.
You do.
on
You
my
you tell us who did it and report it to the city, to the police. You can, or to maybe the city
then you get
attorney. You have protections. They can and take action, legal, criminal action, I believe, right?
There are
But-
2 separate things here. You've got, this is not a charge of littering or illegal dumping.
Right.
It's allowing your property to exist with trash, rubbish, junk on it. So you have a cause of action against whoever did this, either criminally or civilly.
But you gotta, it's your job to bring that person before the city or before the court to do that. I feel for you. I really do. I really do. But, okay, so we're gonna close the hearing on this case so the board can deliberate in open session. We need to first determine whether or not a violation existed. The floor is open for discussion or for a motion, entertain motion.
I'll make a motion that the violation existed.
Okay, it's been moved and probably second that the violation did exist in this case. Any question on that motion? All in favor, let it know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, now we have to discuss the penalty in regards to this violation. And it is a minimum of
200 to 400.
a minimum of $200, maximum $400, plus there is a $200 administrative fee.
I
So
make a
the floor-
motion that we assess the minimum charge with the $200 administration fee.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second. Any questions on that motion? All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, sir, we have a paper you to sign. And like I said, I really do want to express, I feel for your situation. I appreciate what you're doing in that area of helping improve the area of Hopkinsville. And I wish I had an answer for you. I think if you continue to work with Mr. West and maybe take his advice, send up cameras or something like that, I think I would. I think I would be suing somebody. I really would. Okay, we're gonna move on our agenda. Unfinished business other than hearings, there's none. New business other than hearings, we got some order to dismiss citations. And guess we're waiting on Mr. West. Okay, Mr. West, our next item on the agenda is order to dismiss citations under agenda item 8A. Can you tell us about these cases?
So I'm gonna do my best. The first two basic property maintenance cases were for under Code Enforcement Officer Mark DeArmond. He said both were by mistake. One shouldn't have been sent because the property owner went on ahead and abated it prior to getting the citation. So the first two were mistakes, and actually the third one for grass, trash, and weeds. That property, the wrong property was cited. It was next to a vacant lot. I read the parcels wrong, so the wrong property owner got the wrong end of the stick.
Okay, all right, thank you, sir. Okay, board members, you've heard the testimony of Mr. West regarding the order to dismiss citation in 8A. We entertain a motion to dismiss those.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second. Any question on the motion? All in favor, let it know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, so next we have default final orders. Mr. West, can you tell us what procedures you guys follow in regards to default final orders?
Yes, sir. So for each case brought for you before you tonight was either found during proactive duty or a complaint. For each non-repeat offender, a notice of violation was sent, allowing the property owner 10 days to correct the violation or to access for more time. If neither was done after the 10 days were up, a second inspection was conducted. A citation was issued for each one that was still in violation, and then brought before you guys tonight.
Okay, and were the procedures mandated by Chapter 33 of the Hopkinsville Code Ordinance following the cases tonight?
To the best of my knowledge.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, so on our agenda, under items 8B through 8F, or default final orders, the fines are listed on the agenda. And so we will entertain a motion on those cases.
Chairman, I'll make a motion that on the agenda item 8B through F, we uphold all those default final orders with the fines listed.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and probably second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Any announcements from board members or from the staff?
Just want to say I appreciate everybody on this board. Tonight wasn't
Yes.
easy, but
I do
I
too.
really respect the different views that we have here, and I think we're all better for it. So thank you, everybody.
Yes, yes.
Second that.
I second that too. Okay, if nothing further, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.